Hi, I'm Josiah, and this is my podcast Double Draft. Here I take on our guest writer's first draft and try and give them a leg up on the second time around, using an outline that'll help them build their character's flaws, their beliefs, their wants, their needs, along with what they need, what they want, what they have to get in each scene. If you wanted to read all the script that we went through for this episode, go ahead and look at the links in the description. It'll be down there along with the outline that we made for this episode, and the outline that I use to outline everybody who comes on as a guest. Alder wrote a great script, and I think we wrote an even better outline. I hope you like the results. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome.
So, do you want to give a little pitch of your script?
Oh damn, I feel like I did like a decent one, so I want to make sure I get it like verbatim. No, I'm proud of the work I do, so I want to make sure it's recognized.
Oh, no, I 100% agree. I think what you did with Wordsmiths was really solid. It's just that it did lack in some areas, but making anybody laugh reading that is like an achievement in and of itself.
Oh, thank you so much. That's amazing to hear. Okay, so I found my log line. It does. After taking on an impossible deadline, a determined college student with a plagiarism business must brave the bizarre nightlife of her campus to complete her latest assignment in an ultimate all-nighter.
I will say that is a fucking hell of a log line.
I'm like stuttering over it. I never tried to say it out loud before.
Oh, no, it's all right. I think you did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
I just realized I don't think that I asked you to introduce yourself to them.
Yes, so I'm Alda Mars. That is all. I try to write. Not sure if I write well.
We're all
I try to
just
write
writing.
every day. Some things come easily, some things don't.
Fuck, you write every day?
I try. Like last night, it wasn't a good day, so I just kind of. My new thing is like write everything that ever happens ever, and then see if you can like figure it out. And it's like all over the place. It's like a new like pilot I'm working on that's not really coming together, but I hope it will.
I think it's a good way to go about it. I just can't fucking do it. I don't have the motivation, man.
I don't either. If I see my computer just sitting there, I'm just like, come on.
I gotta get up out of my bed and move to my desk and type away on this stupid fucking mechanical keyboard that I paid out the ass for just so I could write good.
Actually,
Ugh. So did you get into the documents okay?
I didn't even click the link because I've just been sitting here.
So the first thing that I wanted to point out with your short script, Wordsmiths, is just that while it's really funny and this character has like a super cool flaw, Cartly. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah,
I didn't know if there was
I know
another.
it's spelled weird.
I think that they have like a really, really solid flaw, which is that they're plagiarizing work essentially just
Uh-huh.
to sell to kids who don't deserve it. Like
Right.
that's just the overall, but it doesn't really get explored. Like she doesn't realize that that's like a bad thing to do, and I don't think that
Right.
she necessarily has to, because if you want that to be the message of your story, that like, hey, this might be a good thing in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be all like up or down, you know.
Yeah, I totally feel like it should be explored, but I'm kind of stuck like, how do we go about that?
Well, like I said, even when we were first talking about it, I don't think that it has to be this specific thing that gets explored. It's just that that's what's out there at the moment.
Right.
So the way I structure shorts now, after going through and just fucking falling flat on my face every time, uh, I'd keep going through writing and just like falling on my face, like this isn't good, this isn't interesting. What the fuck am I doing? The best way that I've been able to or succinctly get everything in a way that creates interesting things on their own is to write down just just the name of your character, what they want, and then what they need to grow. Or sometimes characters don't grow, sometimes they make other people grow, sometimes they regress. So
Right.
just what their actual need is. So like say somebody wants to fall in love, but their need might be, hey, maybe I should like work on myself before I do that, because that's kind of how relationships work. Or
Right.
and then that's just like internal conflict, which is their needs. External conflict is what gets in the way of their wants. And then the real heavy hitter is the deep rooted beliefs. That's your philosophical conflict. So, just for an example, like, is it okay to plagiarize these things for money and sell them to students because I think that the school system is flawed? And then there's somebody to oppose that, whether it be society itself, I guess, if you want to get all fucking Joker and the Dark Knight about it.
Never.
It could be human versus society, human versus self, human versus human, any of those things. But there needs to be something that directly opposes that belief. And you don't need to come to like a general consensus, like this is good, this is bad. But you need to like explore it. Otherwise, then what are you telling the story for? I know that you're telling that story to make me laugh, which it did. All story is putting beliefs out there and then exploring them with the characters that you have. So basically all I want you to do is fill in these spaces with your hard-hitting characters. Characters that have these things. Side characters don't really need it. But I mean, they need to be interesting, which I think you've done. It's just that the heavy-hitting characters need these things. So, what would be first? Carly, right?
Yes.
Is there
I'm not sure if I
any
can.
is there any part of that you're not clear about that I might be able to help with?
With what?
Like filling out this little part here for Carly.
Oh, I can edit it. For some reason, I thought I couldn't. I kind of played around with it before. Um, I guess we'll start with like overall wants.
Yeah.
I kind of like classified it down that she wants to be liked, but she also wants to be useful. Kind of combine that. She wants to be liked for being useful. And she also just wants like meaningful relationships, but she doesn't really know how to go about that. So that's why she goes through the I want to be useful kind of route.
That works great.
Okay.
But also that ties in with like the external conflict, which is just like what are they working towards in that moment. So you want
Right.
that in this section, and then you also want, I'm assuming, hey, I want to plagiarize these papers and I need to get this paper done or else this boy won't like me and I'm not going to be useful to anybody.
Right.
All right. And what do they need to realize? Whether it be like, hey, maybe this is kind of fucked up and people shouldn't like me just because I do stuff for them, or like whatever else that you think that she should realize, if that's even what you want her to.
Well, I kind of interpreted like overall needs as like what traits almost she needs to have. So like I talked about like how she needed like maybe some confirmation in herself, and maybe she needs respect, like definitely confidence and self-esteem.
Like
And needs
self-respect.
to stand up for himself. Um, to realize that she is a person, she is not like a machine, and
She's not
that
just
she's a
a
person.
plagiarism machine.
She's not a plagiarism machine. She's a person that is like deserving of XYZ things.
I think that's perfect, and I want you to write that down.
Okay. Okay.
You've
Needs
engaged
to
me far
realize-
more in this character than I did when I initially read it.
Because I spent way too long with her, You don't realize how many drafts this can
How many drafts
figure
are
her
you
out.
in? I thought this was your first draft.
I wish it was. The very first draft was so different. And her name was Carla in the first draft. And she was such a hard ass and I hated her. So I changed it all around.
I was listening to something else today, and I heard that one of the most useful ways to, if you hate a character and just hate it and you don't know why, the best thing to do is flip it completely on its head like a 180, and then see
Honestly
how
did
that
help.
would happen. And even if you don't like that, you can do a mix of the two. Like he was talking about this one character that he had that was like a boy prince that was just like super fucking shitty to everybody. But it was like, that's what a fucking Kid King is. But then he had the thought of like, why would anybody hang out with him if he's this much of an asshole?
Wait, oh my God, are you talking about like Tip of the Tongue from? I love
Yeah.
that. I've listened to that like so many times.
I was
I
literally
literally listened
listening
to
to
that
it
last
right before
week.
this.
So great. I wish there were more episodes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they kind of just gave up on it for a little while.
Yeah, and I wish there were like more like writing specific episodes, but like I will listen to like the voice acting ones too, even though I have
Mhm.
like no interest in voice acting.
Honestly, it's a really fun thing to just like dabble with. I don't fucking do any of that shit professionally, but I'll just toss an audition out on Casting Call Club just because it's fun.
I honestly wanted to do that with like real like as you could say like live action acting, just like go to random casting calls as like someone who's never acted in her life, just to
Yeah,
see what
wish
would
it was
happen.
that easy.
Oh, I did that when I was like young. I went to like a weird casting call for like a model thing, and I got a call back, but that's probably the farthest I'll go with just randomly dropping in on stuff.
Did you? What did you do?
It was like for an American Girl doll thing. I just got a call back, but I guess I just didn't fit the second time around,
You're
so
not an
nothing really
American
happened
Girl?
with it. That was like the dream to like model with like American Girl doll, but it didn't end up really happening. Just a weird story.
Fuck it. Americans kind of suck anyway. To realize she's not a plagiarism machine, that she's a person deserving of respect. Perfect. Now,
Yes.
the need can be the same thing as the deep rooted belief, but like, we're talking like the start of the story, right? So, what is the belief that she holds that either she needs to change or is like out there?
I
And
feel
like,
like Dude would be something like very like low self-esteemy that she is only likable when she is useful. Like
that works. And then this is
yeah,
also like where you would want to expand upon your philosophical conflict. So, you could put more than one thing here.
right. So I kind of put like helping people cheat is fine and people will like you for it.
People will
So
what? I'm sorry, you're cutting out.
people will like you for helping them,
All right,
essentially.
that works. Now, is this the overall philosophical conflict you want to go for rather than plagiarism versus honesty? Because that's great. That's fine.
I would kind of struggle with it because I feel like I'm trying to talk about like three different things in one.
I think you
Um,
can do both of those if you really want to. Is there another thing that you were thinking about?
I'd written down like it's okay to let people coast off your hard work for the sake of building and maintaining relationships
That is the
versus
perfect explanation of what I wanted to hear. Please write that down.
okay versus um helping lazy people skate through life is wrong because they'll never learn or do anything for themselves, and plus it's not creating any meaningful relationships, only opportunities to be exploited and taken advantage of.
That's the thing that you want to give to either what was her name? Zeta?
The first person probably helps is Zaida.
No, that's yeah,
But
okay.
she's like not really a character.
Who
She just
was
kind of appears for five
the
seconds.
Jay? Jay is who I was thinking
Jay.
of.
Yes.
So whoever you want her to conflict with the most, that's who you want to give the opposite belief to. You can give it to an antagonist character, which you don't really need to because I mean, like, if you don't want to have a straight up fucking antagonist, you can just have these two characters like kind of duke it out. But I don't think that's like Jay's deal because she's pretty much in it.
Right. I kind of like played around with like another draft, and I kind of like was playing around with her just being more just like critical of just like Atticus, the dude in general. So just kind of
Yeah.
like who cares? But I'm not sure if it really works because Jay's like more about wanting to help Carly, and I guess that kind of trumps her dislike or whatever of
No,
Atticus.
no. I think that was fine. It was the I mean, it's you can be concerned for your friend while also
Hmm.
like helping them do a bad thing. Like the reason that she's helping her do that bad thing, that's her motivation.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think that you really need to change too much about Jay other than the fact that she doesn't really believe in anything. But it sounds like you've got a pretty good grasp on it. You just need to put it into effect, right?
Yeah. I feel like sometimes your characters kind of like live free and like live better in your head versus on the page. So sometimes you like kind of project that first stuff that's like not really on the page yet.
True. While you do this, I forgot to make one more Google Doc. because I wrote a scene outline, but I did not write the key for the scene outline, so you have no idea what questions you're answering. Which was, gotta admit, not my smartest move. I did dabble with the idea of doing this, like, live, and now I know that I really don't want to.
No, that would have been nerve-wracking.
Because this definitely will not work unless it's edited way down.
Yeah, that's fair, honestly.
Just because, like, writing is such an arduous thing that takes so much time.
Right. There was this like one writing friend I had, and like she was trying to create a Patreon, but it wasn't really working because, the kind of reward tier was like churning out like mini novels, and like she can't write that fast. So it's just not something that works. Like writing isn't something that can be churned out that fast.
That makes sense.
Okay.
So what's Jay's deal?
Good question. A weird character.
I like Jay a lot, especially the scene, the opening scene where she's flopping on paint everywhere. That's fucking great.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad because I was like struggling, like, how do I introduce her?
I love the idea of just her having a very serious conversation while smashing her face into a canvas.
Yeah, I mean, I like it too. So I kind of like, for an overall want, I kind of struggled with her. I was like, at one point I was like, oh, she wants to like produce art. She's kind of artsy fartsy. And I wrote, she wants to live free without rigid instructions, which is like, maybe. She wants to do whatever she wants. That's a good one.
That makes sense. I mean, she's very, very kind of opposite to Carly.
Yeah.
Just in the fact that she's like does whatever the fuck she wants and doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Right.
Which I think is a very good characterization for her to have. But I think what it really comes down to at this point is, do you want Jay to have separate beliefs from Carly, or do you want her to like share Carly's belief? And then maybe there's like a conflict later on because of that.
I think that is a good idea because like when I think about it, I don't think they would ever have like identical beliefs.
I don't think that it's not necessarily that they'll never have identical beliefs because, I mean, at the end of the day, she is helping her, and unless there's like a reason for her not to help her, then it's like they could just go through the same journey themselves, but with like slight differences.
Right. But I feel like she's mostly helping her because she cares for her well-being.
Yeah.
And this like stupid paper is like, yeah, I don't know how many hours. I didn't like pinpoint a timeline, but like, they got like 8 hours to write like a 25-page paper or something. So it takes a toll on you, and she's like, I don't want to see her go through that. More like that.
There was a big, like supporting your friend is a great want. Just in general, because it covers a lot of shit. Especially for a supporting character like Jay. Like, I don't know if you ever played Persona 4, have you?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, I'll summarize it as very short and sweet as I can. There's a character, Yosuke, who's, like, secondary to the protagonist. Just, like, an all-around really funny, cool comic relief second character like Jay. And he has interesting flaws, and he goes through his own arc. But at the same time, him and the protagonist aren't always going to agree.
Right.
Which I think that you already have that set up, that Jay is not always going to agree with what Carly wants. But if you want her to always agree with what Carly wants, that's fine too. You just need to have, like, her overall wants might be, hey, I think that I don't agree with what you're doing, but I also want money. And I want to support you, so I'm going to do that.
Right.
But
I also wrote that, like, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I really want to hear what you have to say because I'm kind of interrupting you.
I also wrote that she wants fairness because, she thinks that, like, Carly should be paid for what she does. So, like, being paid back appropriately for any time and labor spent on.
God, I forgot that she doesn't even get paid for that.
Yeah, because Carly's a fucking doormat.
That's actually a really good conflict to have because, I mean, if your story isn't really about the fact that it's wrong to plagiarize, which I don't think it is at this point,
No, because
I think it's better to
don't we all
lean
plagiarize
into
though?
that. Lean into the fact, like, hey, you're being a fucking doormat. If you're gonna do a bad thing, you might as well get paid for it.
No, I like that. If you're
And
gonna,
then Carly just doesn't want to admit that she's like, hey, I'm kind of just doing this for validation and I have a horrible mental state that I kind of want to correct. So maybe her entire thing is just to make sure that Carly is properly compensated for her work. But Carly just never admits that, hey, I'm not doing this for. She pretends like, oh, I'm doing this for my intellectual value. But it's not like, hey, I'm super lonely and like, it's not that you're not enough for me, but I really want to make connections and this is the only way I know how.
right, I really like that.
So this is a great time to say that not all of your characters need needs, because if the whole thing is like your protagonist in this case is on a journey to find out a truth about herself, right? But not all characters need to find out the truth because some of them already know it. If Jay knows that Carly needs to find self-respect, I mean, unless there's a change that needs to happen in Jay, that's a really good purpose to just have her in the story.
So it's just more just like it's basically like supporting character in like every sense of the word.
Yeah, like think of like fucking I don't know the characters in Karate Kid, man. The
Karate Kid.
the big
Never
guy,
seen that.
there's like a mentor in the Karate Kid, right? He already knows the truth. And it's like, hey, you need to stop being so arrogant. I think this is what it is. I haven't seen the movie in God knows how long. But it is like, hey, you're being arrogant and think that fighting is going to make you stronger. No, you need to like learn, like be at peace with yourself before you go out picking fights with people just because they don't like you. So he knows the truth and like directly opposes the main character's beliefs. So there's your philosophical conflict, and they go through the entire story together until he finally learns that about himself. He doesn't say it outright because the character needs to realize that themselves. So Jay can be that kind of character for her.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea too.
So in overall needs, honestly, you could just take that row out because Jay doesn't fucking need it unless you think that she needs to change somehow.
I had written like structure and discipline, but I'm not sure if
Does
that's
it?
really what she needs.
Yeah, if it's not really what she needs, then I mean, she seems like she's pretty much got it all together. Like she doesn't have a problem that needs to be fixed, right?
I guess like the one part I want to explore is I'd written the need to feel part of something important.
And that's why she always wanted to be part of the plagiarism business.
Well, maybe, or like maybe she doesn't really have like find a purpose, just like doing random stuff just
I
because she wants to.
I think that you could make that work and then still also make
Yeah,
her this character that is supporting.
yeah. I will write it down just for the sake of writing it down.
Yeah, if you change your mind, you can always go back because if something doesn't work, then it just doesn't work and you can
Hmm.
change it. That's all that rewriting drafts is about. It's like,
Okay.
oh, I don't like this thing that I wrote down. I can change that. So, what are her deep rooted beliefs?
I wrote payment is required for our work. You can't help people cheat simply because you want them to like you. So it's
That's
like
perfect.
direct
And then there's
opposition.
your philosophical conflict.
Hmm.
So, first things first, are these kind of. I think this is all you really need for your characters. Because
I
nobody
kind of
else is like directly opposing somebody, and Atticus is kind of.
I kind of started working with him, but he's not much of a person.
Yeah, I mean, he. You can have characters that are one dimensional, and as long as they're entertaining to watch, and you already have people that are multidimensional, you don't really need to make them change or anything. This story is about
No,
Carly and Jay. It's not about Atticus and fucking teacher lady.
right. It's like he's more the MacGuffin almost. Like
Yeah, Chekhov's
he's
Atticus.
the treasure they're looking for. Or almost he's like the sexy lamp character.
I
I'm
like that
fine
a
with.
lot. I think that one more thing before we move on to scene outline. maybe feel part of something important into Jay's wants.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I see what you
exactly know
mean.
what her need would be, but I think that's more for you to figure out because I don't know your character's inside and out. You do.
I hope I do.
It seems like you do because all of this is present in your story, but it wasn't present in a way that I would understand that.
Okay. But it's not like coming completely out of nowhere.
Exactly. Like you have these things in your story. But if people don't get that when reading your story, then you just need to present it in a better way.
Okay. Right.
Because by the end of the screenplay, I was like, uh so like what changed? Like nothing really
Eh,
happened. They just kind of like did the thing that they set out to do. And it was funny.
there you go.
So, if feel part of something important is her want, what do you think her need is? If she has one. Because like I said, that can just be a want that she has and she might not need to figure out anything.
I would leave it blank for now because I'm not sure.
That'll work great for now because if we figure something out while we're labbing out scenes, we can go ahead and change that. And then this will
All
be
right.
something that we can come back and reference whenever we're doing our scene outline. So, do you remember what happened scene by scene, or do we need to go through the screenplay?
I have it like open because I don't have it memorized.
I have it open as well.
Okay.
So, the first scene is just like I think that your first scene works really well because I get everything that I need to know out of them. Like everything I need
Okay.
to know about Carly. But like we're not worrying about like how your scene's going to be written at this point. We're just worrying about the outline of it. So, step 1 for like this is just how all of them are going to be laid out. Who wants what from who? What will happen if they don't get what they want? How do they go about getting what they want? Did they get what they wanted? What did it cost them? And then what's their point of no return? And all I mean by point of no return is they've done something that can't be undone. And that's going to change how the story moves forward, right? I can't tell you what they want from this scene because you know. And I just want you to write them down in this order.
Okay.
That way we get a
So,
grasp on, like, you will get a grasp on what all of your characters want in this scene and what they're learning, what they're not learning, what they're trying to tell the audience.
okay. So I definitely feel like Carly wants to bond over this essay she's made.
So she wants to try and make friends with Zeta while doing something that's not exactly morally right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
great. That's what I want you to write down. And what will happen if they
whereas,
don't get what they want?
um,
It doesn't have to be anything big. It can
loneliness.
be as simple as she's going to continue to be alone.
Yeah, essentially.
Because we can infer that just based on the way that you wrote it. And then how does she go about getting it? And then you can just be like, she plagiarized an essay for this classmate.
Mhm.
Honestly, this is probably my favorite part of your screenplay because the opening is really solid.
Oh, thank you. Did they get what they wanted? Not really. No. Just wanted the essay. Didn't want the friendship.
There you go. And then it cost them all of that time writing the essay, and they didn't
Right.
even get out what they wanted.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not sure if there's a point of no return, like,
I think
in
that the
this
point of
particular
no
scene.
return, it's a little subjective every time you go into a scene and like figure it out, but it's probably just her walking away with the script without interacting with Carly.
Mm-hmm.
So like handing over the script before she got a chance to interact with her.
Yeah, I feel like it's like the bridges have been burned. And
As long
nothing's
as it's
really gonna come out of
interesting
that.
and pushes the story forward, it can be anything in any of these. Just the
So it's
last thing
like,
you want to do is like lower the stakes.
right? What you mean?
I just realized that her name was Jayami Jayakoti. I love that.
Names like that. I was just like, I want her to be named Jay in every sense of the way. Like, every way possible.
So what was this scene about again? It was
Uh,
Jay wanting Carly to charge for her plagiarism service, right?
yeah. And I imagine that Jay probably charges money for her weird art. So I don't think she gets a lot of buyers.
There's absolutely a way that you can do that as she's flopping on paint, and I think that will work great just because of the tone of your screenplay. But even then, that's stuff that you don't even want to put in here because you can just work that out when you're rewriting the scene. So like what Carly would want in this scene, I couldn't fucking tell you because it's been a week since I read the script. Let me go back actually.
Like, I guess she just kind of wants like confirmation and almost comfort from Jay.
Yeah, she wants Jay to validate what she's doing.
I feel like that's kind of shitty of her.
Well, I mean, characters are inherently shitty and then they change, so. And like, if this isn't clear in your scene, then you can go ahead and like rewrite it to be that way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, even in the first scene, you did a great job with your subtext. I'm pretty sure you can replicate that in your other scenes. And then you write down what Jay wants from Carly, if she wants anything. If she doesn't, then just, like, drop it. It's not a big deal.
I don't think she wants anything from her, more that she wants her...
Either that, or she wants her to get paid for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I also want to put, like, stand up for herself. That's part of that.
Exactly. And then right off the bat, we're introduced to, like, the conflict of the story. Or at least the philosophical internal conflict.
Right, because he wants her to get money, and Carly's just a doormat.
Yes. You've got funny jokes. You've got us invested in your two main characters. And as long as you keep this momentum going, nobody's going to, like, disengage from it.
Okay.
So what will happen if they don't get what they want? You can just... It doesn't have to be, like, some fucking crazy thing. Like I said, it's just simple. Carly needs the confirmation to make herself feel okay about doing it. And then Jay doesn't want to see Carly get walked all over.
Yeah, if they don't get what they want, I just feel like she'll just be... It's, like, not, like, high stakes.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be high stakes in the beginning. And even then, later on, it may not seem high stakes, but there are external stakes that are, like, getting in the way.
I'd probably be bummed out, whereas Jay would just be, like, more disappointed.
There you go. As long as you understand what's going on, because nobody else is going to see your outline. As long as you understand what the conflict is, you will be able to write it into your next draft.
How do they go about getting what they want?
It could just be as simple as Carly asked her flat out if what she was doing is okay, but, like, you just don't want to make it ham-fisted.
Yeah, that might be something I kind of sprinkle in throughout. Like, confirmation in, like, her own business.
As long as it's abundantly clear and not, like, shoved down our throats that Carly needs this validation to, like, stay doing what she's doing. Like, maybe even whenever you get to the scene with Atticus, she can get that validation rather than just, like, thirsting.
Oh, you know what? Yeah.
Good idea. Drop my watch. But that would be a way better motivator. Because, like, while I was reading that, I was just like, damn, she's horny. Which is great, and I love. But she could be horny and just, like, crave validation. Atticus can just be like, you're kind of cool.
Oh, because honestly, like, I'm saying that to her means absolutely nothing to him, but it would mean the world to her.
Of course, because that's their character dynamic, and it's very interesting.
What was I writing?
Carly craves validation, and oh, you were writing how do they go about getting what they want in this scene?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I just
no, it Carly doesn't. Craves. I think we went on a tangent.
How do they go about getting what they want? I feel like she just kind of crashed Jay's whatever the fuck that is.
You crashed Jay's art. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, whenever later on when they're being chased and they ran through Jay's art show, I thought she was gonna get mad at her, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be boring whenever they just have, like, the stereotypical, two of them break up out of it and, like, need to come back together for the final act. I'm glad you didn't do that, because that would have been very boring.
Oh, I just, like, was like, what if they were at the same place at the beginning? That would be cool.
You could do that, but while that is a cool thing to call back to, I don't think that's how you should write a scene. It's more so, how are these characters going to interact each other, and how is that interesting? Rather than, oh, I want the characters to go to a swamp, because the swamp is cool.
You're quoting it again.
I am quoting it again because it's a great thing, and I'm very happy to steal it.
Okay, does Jay go about doing what she wants? It's like the point of no return almost, because she goes about like the frat party plan.
Oh, yeah. The point of no return is definitely Jay inviting her to the party.
I would just put like frat party.
Agreed.
But is that also like the how I go about what getting what she wants?
Hmm?
Is like the frat party invitation also aligning with like how Jay gets what she wants?
Absolutely. Jay is doing it because she wants Carly to, like, get out of her comfort zone. So Jay invites Carly to the frat party to help her find business. And you could just put find business in quotes, or maybe even make it more obvious to yourself, just writing it down. Like, hey, she wants to go find people to connect with.
Right. They get what they wanted. Probably get some confirmation. She gets like this. I don't know why I wrote about the candy bar and the blue colored drink. That was stupid, but
What was that?
she got that of her. Um, I
Oh,
was
yeah,
talking
and a candy bar. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Well, I mean, it tells us that she has diabetes. So, I mean, that's fine. But
okay.
the line of, oh, and something unnaturally colored to drink, that's a bit clunky, but you can make it work. Hey, I mean, that's what it is. It's just, if it doesn't work, you need to just go back and change it a little bit, and then it'll work fine.
Yeah, it's like something I read each time like I go through the script. I'm like, why did I write that?
So she did kind of get what they want. They both kind of got what they want.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like a yes no question. It's like I kind of gets a kick in the pants too.
True.
So if anything, it's like Jay got what she wanted more.
That's a good way to put it. I think that if that helps you write your scene, that's what you should put.
Okay, what did it cost them?
Carly has to face, or this is just like how I want to put it. You can write it however you want, because at the end of the day, this is for you. And this is just a tool for you to write better. The way that I would word it is that Carly now has to face that maybe what she's doing isn't the most healthy thing in the world, and has to, like, adhere to what Jay is saying just slightly. She has to
Yeah,
let go of the reins.
so like put like that, it seems like it's kind of costing almost like her viewpoint.
Yeah, like Jay is planting the seeds of doubt in her mind about what she's doing.
Oh, so it, like almost like cost her like a little bit of security.
Yeah, and even you can
She's
do,
saying,
like, the external want of now she has to go to a party she's not comfortable going to.
right. Now she has to socialize for real.
That's a great way to put it, and I love it. So, what was the third scene? This is where she met Atticus, right?
Um, yeah, so she's just kind of pitching anything. Yeah, so she meets Atticus and she's in love at first sight.
I do love the scene where she's, like, pitching her business to people, and then she's just helping this drunk girl throw up, just so she can, like, hey, I also do a nice little business, and then she just goes, wanna come to my wedding? That made me laugh hard.
Thank you.
But, yeah, like, you can have more than one want in a scene. Like, she wants to be introduced to Atticus, she wants to, promote her business to people and try making a connection, like a deep connection.
Right. So,
I don't know if this is the scene where she, like, talks to Atticus for the first time.
I don't know, because I had like another piece of feedback where like they were saying like, I don't really feel like it works, like the kind of, it's not really love at first sight, but no, just saying like, oh, what if like she had known him already had a crush on him, and I was like, I don't know how to play that out, but I know what they're saying.
I don't even think that you have to do that, because, like, let's think about why it doesn't work for a second, because I agree that it doesn't work. It's just more so the fact of she has no real... Now that I know the reason she likes him, I think you just need to lean harder into it. Like, he gives her validation, and that's what she fucking wants more than anything in the world. So, I mean, if some dumbass is like, hey, I think that you're great and what you do is amazing, she's gonna keep doing it, because she wanted... That's all she wanted, the validation, right?
Right. Okay. I think Jay's like, he's just kind of there.
Yeah, Jay also wants to help get the business pushed so she can support Carly.
Jay wants to help, but she also kind of wants to party.
Yeah, true. Now, scene 4 is where she, like, talks to Atticus, right? She goes up to the room.
Yeah.
So we don't even need to worry about Atticus yet. What'll happen if Carly or Jade doesn't get what they want in this scene? It's basically the same as the last scene, right? Carly will continue to be alone.
Yeah, I wish I could have said that. You got it right.
No. I think you understand it. I think you 100% understand the stakes of your story. It just so happens that, like, in this scene, it is bundled with scene number 4, so the stakes don't really go up too high.
No. And that's what I'm kind of worried about, like, the script, like, overall, that the stakes are never really there.
I don't think that's, at least in this part, I don't think that's a problem at all, because scene 3 and 4 are kind of a bundle for me. You know what I mean? It's all in the same area. It's just that it's in 2 different rooms. And that's why it's labeled scene 3 and scene 4. So as long as things are happening at a good pace and, like, I'm still interested in what's going on, then that's fine by me. And I'm sure it'll be fine with most people who read it, because scene 3 is basically all jokes, which are good jokes that'll keep me invested. And then scene 4 is, like, things happening.
Right. Things happen. She's, like, coming on to Atticus, and he's kind of oblivious.
I do like the oblivious frat dude. Or maybe he even knows, but just doesn't care because he wants to fuck Jay.
Yeah. So he's like, doesn't see anyone else.
Yeah, he's just like, alright, yeah, you are an avenue that I can use, which works really well because that's all she is to basically everybody. You are an avenue I can use to get to your friend.
Yeah, but I almost feel like that's, like, too sinister for him, that I'm not even sure he realizes it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's dumb and frat man, so he doesn't even realize that it's a bad thing to do. I'm sorry, but, I'm trying to find a really nice way to say this. Your air conditioner is super fucking loud.
It's not an air conditioner. It is my neighbors doing yard work, and I'm like, how do I go about this?
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. They'll stop eventually. Fuck it.
Yeah, I was just like, I already have, like, my windows and doors shut.
Why are they doing that shit at fucking 8:30 at night?
Because I'm in a different time zone.
True. What time zone are you in?
I'm actually in Hawaii, so it is 2 p.m. here.
Oh, fuck. I had a friend who used to live in Hawaii, and they lived there for maybe 5 years, and then moved to California, and then all the way up here to West Virginia.
Huh.
Which is just a fucking nutty way, because Hawaii sounds really cool. California is, like, almost equally as cool, and then West Virginia is the bottom of the fucking barrel.
That's what, like, everyone said to me, because I, like, go to school in Florida, and I thought Florida would be like Hawaii, and it is not.
You thought Florida would be like Hawaii? Florida is like the shithole state of America.
Well, you have to learn that eventually.
True.
And I learned that I'm moving there.
You did learn. Are you in... So you're in Hawaii now, but you were in Florida at a time?
Yeah, I'm going back there in like a month. It's like my last year of school.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your major?
Oh, it's like actually like global health, epidemiology, all that good stuff.
Oh, that's cool. So this is just like a hobby for you?
It's like ideally you get like a more secure job, and then this is something you work on the side, see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all you want it to be, that's all it's gotta be. Honestly, we're an hour in, and this is kind of where I want to be. I'm glad that this is going smoothly. So what's gonna happen if you think that something's obvious, like what will happen if they don't get what they want, you can skip that if it's like the same thing, because you know what will happen, just for the sake of time, and then we could just keep going to like the important shit.
Right, it's like kind of the same as the last scene. Just clear that the point of no return is like signing on to this stupid essay with the ridiculous timeline.
I think you do also want to, yeah, that's, or well, that would be scene 4. So I think I want you to put out how did they go about getting what they want in scene 3, which is she's like cold pitching her business to drunk kids, which is hilarious.
And then just like approaching Atticus one-on-one, I think.
Perfect. And 4 will be did they get what they wanted. You can even put like not yet, if they'll get what they want in the next scene. What did it cost her?
Her free time, her sanity.
Her free time or sanity. Even a good way to put it would be to like say she's sinking deeper into her delusion. And you can word that however you want, but she's not growing and she's divulging in her want.
Yeah, that works.
And then the point of no return would be to like agreeing to do his essay just so he can get validation, or just so she can get the validation. It's essentially like working for exposure, huh? Except that they don't even talk to anybody about you.
That's the worst ever.
I know, it's great because she's so flawed and I really want her to just like be better. And what will happen if they don't get what you want? Perfect thing to put there would be like, or she won't get the validation that she wants and she will continue to be useless.
Yeah, because that's like her main thing. She hates the idea of being useless.
So what is scene 5?
It's like when they're first starting to work on the paper.
Oh, so this is just a cut to when they're 50 tabs open on our laptop. Love the image.
Yeah, I knew this girl, like, she, like, shared her screen during a Zoom call, and she had, like, literally 100 tabs open.
Ew, really?
It's frightening.
Did she have a PC that could handle that, or was her Zoom call,
no,
like, super
her computer
laggy?
started, like, crashing on her. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. No, yeah, I hard agree. It's a great thing to implement here, just because she's such a fucking workaholic. I do also love that Jay is sculpting a nasty ass fucking pig sculpture. I do love the idea of her just like sculpting shit in every different scene.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny.
It's definitely a fun visual gag. So, I'm sorry, it's been a week since I've read this, so I'm trying to catch up. She's going back in and doing research for her, right? Or was the whole thing that she didn't do the research?
No, because she heard John Wilkes Booth and for some reason started researching the Phantom Toll Booth.
She spent all this time researching the wrong thing. That's okay.
Yeah.
So is there going to be conflict around that, or is that something you want to skim over for like a larger thing?
It's like I'm kind of trying to skim over it almost.
That's fine. It can just be a joke if that's what you want, because I think it's a good joke.
Okay.
So what is this scene really about?
It's kind of, I don't know, because like Jay's like I could help you, but Carly doesn't want that, so it's not so much.
Jay wants to be of use, but if Carly's not in control, then it might get fucked up.
Yeah. So. This like pleasure business is kind of like Carly's baby, and so
yeah, that'll work. Like Jay wants to help, but Carly doesn't want to give her the time to do that.
Yeah,
that works. That's a great way to make her want to feel part of something important. That could be part of Jay's flaw. I like that. What will happen if Jay doesn't help her with this?
Then Carly will burn out.
That's one thing, but what will happen to her internally is another thing I want you to write down.
Jay
will feel equally unimportant as Carly does if she's not helping her. Maybe.
That's a maybe, because I feel like her self-esteem won't go down that much.
Absolutely. If that's not like, if I'm saying something and you don't agree with me, I want you to actively vocalize that and then just do what you think. Because at the end of the day, you know your characters better than I do. So as far as I understand that, this is like her flaw motivating. Like she doesn't feel like she's actually part of anything important despite all this amazing art that she makes, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to start developing.
That's great. And like now that you have this on paper, whenever you go back to write it, you can make this like a little more clear. I think it's pretty clear. But maybe it was just me and I didn't understand that when I read it. Because I thought, like, I knew that Carly was like being a control freak, but I wasn't like, it wasn't super clear to me that Jay wanted to be a part of this because it was something that like she wanted to do. It wasn't that she was just helping Carly.
Yeah, I could totally see how that was unclear, especially It's like I like this is like not the first draft, and like the first was like crazy different. Whereas like in fact like Carly was forcing Jay to join instead. And so,
Yeah.
I feel like this is better.
If you don't mind me asking, because I don't think I heard you when you said it before, what draft is this?
Um, I didn't really keep track of that, but
That is fine. If you didn't keep track, then that's fine.
I just like thinking how different it was. The very first draft had like a completely different plot, it had a different name.
We'll just say this is draft X.
Draft X, yes.
Jay will not be a part of something. That's an interesting flaw. All I can say for that is that you might want to make it more clear whenever she's doing her art that she's like unsatisfied with it. Like she's satisfied with her art, but like she doesn't think that it's anything all that great, and she wants to be part of something like bigger.
Okay.
Because that's like something that's not perfectly articulated. So how does she go about it, or how do these two go about getting what they want in this scene?
So Jay wants to help. Basically, she just kind of offers.
Jay offers to help to one to help Carly, and then two to push her beliefs forward. As long as we know what characters want in a scene and why they're doing what they're doing, it's interesting to an extent. It may not be the most compelling thing on the planet, but as long as we know what they're doing and why they're doing it, we're invested in some sense. So that's all you really want to convey to us, like, as a bare minimum.
So Jay offers to help. That's how she does it. The Carly just kind of denies.
Carly fucking dies. Carly is burning out and Jay offers to help. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. Did they get what they wanted? I'd say that Jay didn't, and then Carly kind of did. Because in this particular scene, Jay didn't get to help in the way that she wanted to. Like, specifically, she wants to help with the essay. But in the next scene, she's going to help super hard and prove her worth, which is her want in the next scene, right?
Right. And, like, she, like, did want to help with the essay, but she kind of, like, screwed it up already by, like, researching the wrong thing.
Yeah. And that's why Carly believes that she's not good enough to help.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to showcase it. Like I said, you have really good shit here. It's just that some of it doesn't push through.
Understandable.
And then 5 was... what did it cost them? At the same time, that's kind of a hard question. This is, like, the last couple are always the ones I struggle with. Because in stuff that isn't, like, shonen manga, where it's like, oh, yeah, Jotaro killed this guy, and now he has this it cost him this thing. It's not exactly, like, all there. But I guess a good cost would be that Jay got shut down and it feels invalidated.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
At the end of the day, you could put it any way you want, because even if it's not like a tangible cost, then it's like, it's there. And Carly is like fueling her need for validation.
Yeah, I'm also like, where are we like considering the end of scene 5? Because like, the scene of the dorm, like it just kind of ends like.
I would say that it's the power going out.
Yeah. Okay. So it kind of like cuts it short.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. Like, point of no return would be one telling Jay that she messed up and isn't really capable of helping her, and then the power going out, because she's created a point of no return for herself, but also she's a victim of circumstance.
Oh yeah.
All right, what's the next scene?
Like they're meeting with the RA.
Yeah, Robbie. I forgot about this fucking dude. What is the RA? I didn't know that because I don't go to college.
Oh, it's a resident advisor. So it's like a student who's like lives like an older student, and they live in the same hall or whatever, and they're like supposed to like keep it, like they're in charge, and so like they'll like write you up if you get in trouble or something. There's like they're just like meant to be like snitches and stuff.
There is one thing about this that I think might be able to be cut. While I think the thing is, oh no, I accidentally set off a bomb because the power was out and now my friend is in need of serious medical attention.
Yeah.
I think that's like funny, but not funny enough to warrant an extra scene, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't like, I felt like it wasn't good enough for them to just like have him be like, sucks, and then them just like move on. I felt like they needed to try something. So that's fair.
I just think that this attempt is a little ham-fisted because you see this in like a lot of things and it never works.
Oh my god, that's so true. Literally, another pilot I wrote literally has this like exact thing. So like that's like something I lean on too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you used it as a crutch, and like the fact that you recognize means that you're growing. Because
Hell
if you
yeah.
know that it's a crutch, then you know that like if you use it as a crutch, it's bad. So like if you want to keep this scene, you can rework it so like something different happens. Like maybe one of the kids believes it and bursts into the fucking room or something. Just like something different.
Okay.
But
I'll make note of that.
just the thing is if something doesn't advance, if a scene is there and it doesn't advance anything, then a good rule of thumb is to cut it out.
Yeah, and it's also like a good point is that a couple times I've like reread this, I always skip over that line because I'm like, I don't want to read all that.
That's the thing. If you don't want to read it, then nobody else wants to fucking read it. And like, yeah, it's a really hard pill to swallow because it's like I want it to be good, but like this is what I wrote, and that means it's good. But like sometimes that's just not the case, and it's hard to come to terms with. You know, you just got to know what to cut out and what to keep, and if you really want it, then you can find a way for it to work. It's just that in this form, it doesn't really work.
That's fair.
So yeah, I think the best thing to do would just to be cut out the scene in the communal bathroom, and then you can figure out a better way to show them trying stuff. Now, definitely don't do a montage.
I wouldn't.
Thank
I hate
you.
montages, at least writing them.
I think montages are like all right, but if you use it just to like showcase something like this where they're just like wasting time.
No, yeah, that wouldn't be a good idea.
No. But we don't even need to nail down what they try to do. You could just say they try various methods of getting the RA to worry about the power.
Yeah.
Wait, now that I'm reading this, why did they even do that?
Because they're just trying to hope, like, because I don't know if this is even true, but like they have like access to the power, so they can convince him to somehow just turn it back on, just because.
Gotcha. I think that might because nobody gets that from reading it at all. Like, even people who know what an RA is, nobody's gonna be like, oh yeah, they control the power. It's not like a universally known fact.
Well, I don't even know if it's true or not. That's just like, this is so weird. I saw an episode of Malcolm in the Middle where the RA had that power, and I was just like, okay, I guess that's fact.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, it's Malcolm in the Middle. It doesn't really matter. In this universe, it's your world, so you can make that fact.
It's
it
the
just
same
needs to
universe
be stated.
Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah. It just needs to be like stated because nowhere in here is like Robbie can do the power.
Okay, I gotcha.
So you can just write down that they talk to Robbie, and when he says no, they try various methods of getting him to turn the power back on.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like trying to figure out like what they're gonna do.
You don't even really have to do that in this moment.
Okay.
I just want you to like specify to yourself that they are going to try various ways of getting him to do that because, like you said, that probably is what they would do first.
Okay.
I hope that this is helping and I'm not just like nitpicking.
Oh, this is great.
Okay, awesome.
I love nitpickers.
I want to mention that after this, I do want to read like the revisions of your script. I'm not just going to be like, okay, cool, thanks for coming on my podcast. Like, I want to go back and read this because this is like interesting to me. If it wasn't, then I wouldn't have even picked it to be on here.
Oh, thank you. I haven't like done anything major, just like kind of implemented the philosophical conflict towards the end.
That is very major.
Well, it's just like one line.
Okay.
It's like it's like the equivalent of like the turning to the camera and being like, "This is my belief." It's very on the nose, but
to be fair, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, and like
because like if you don't have any of these things, which I don't think that you really did, like I'm just gonna keep it $150 with you. I don't think that you had like these compelling things, and if you did, because I know that you like thought about it when you were writing it, it definitely didn't come through. But now that we're working on it, it's gonna come through, and people will be interested.
Okay.
I love that we're already a third of the way through the script. That makes me very confident for the pacing of this.
I feel like it's good that like everyone who's like read it so far, like, oh, the pacing's really good.
The pacing is great. I just think that like if there's nothing to hold the pacing up, then it's like, well, what was the great pacing for then? this is a great moment for Jay to prove herself, because that's what she wants to do here, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like why she took the reins of like the
I think you should
explosion
also
ship.
specify that.
Okay.
Jay wants to prove that she can be useful to Carly. This is actually kind of a really cool parallel arc. I don't know if you watch Overly Sarcastic Productions, do you?
I think so. She has like the trope video.
Exactly, Trope Talk.
Okay, I've seen her.
They did a special recently about Katra and Glimmer and She-Ra, and how their arcs like meet each other even though they're completely different people. So, I mean, I'm not saying that this is a parallel arc, but it has elements of it. Like, they both want validation just from different people.
You know, I never even thought of it like that. So
That's the
great.
thing. Like you didn't even think about that because it wasn't like it's never been presented to you in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't even have to be how you want it. It's just that like it's a really cool character dynamic because she wants validation and Jay also wants validation. It's just from one person rather than a bunch. This might even be something that you add to her wants. No, yeah, I think you kind of got that when you said feel part of something important.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of scraping that idea.
I'll
It's
put
like not
slash
developed.
validation from Carly.
Yeah, because they both want validations from different sources.
Yeah, and it's like it's not exactly a parallel arc because if we were doing like a parallel arc, it would be like they're both coming to the same point and realizing the same thing throughout the story despite their different backgrounds. Which I guess we could do if that's what you're into. It's just going to be a little bit harder to pull off.
Yeah.
I'm going to specify that she wants Carly to get compensation for time and effort.
Okay.
Just so it's a little bit more coherent.
My thoughts are not coherent.
It's all right. As long as it makes sense to you, that's all that matters. It's just that if it's not specified in a succinct way, it might be hard for me to go back to and like explain to the audience.
I'm really great at naming things. I'll just like pick the first letter of something.
Honestly, I really like all the names that you have.
Thank you. Atticus and Zeta or Zida, I'm not sure how you say that. We're like from a different project.
The only place that I've ever seen the word Zeta used, or Zida, however you pronounce it, is that one webcomic, Down to Earth.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, like, I wouldn't say that it's so good because it's been a while since I've read it. I'm only just now caught up, so I can't speak for earlier chapters. But if you ever like write a romance thing, it's not a bad reference to have.
Just like love names too. I feel like that's like half the reason I like got into writing is just because I can use cool names. I'm like writing this like script that doesn't really make sense, so I can use this cool sci-fi name.
Have you ever what are you planning on doing with this? Like, do you want somebody to produce it or what?
I'm unsure right now. It'd be great if it could be. I feel like
I
it's like
think
low
that it has the
budget enough
potential to be
that
fucking hilarious and great and people will like watch it.
I feel like it's also like low budget too.
Then again,
I don't
I'm
know
not
what I
like
want to do with it.
yeah, I wouldn't say that you have to because if you're writing it for fun, you're just writing it for fun at the moment.
Yeah.
Then you can
At
figure
the
it out.
moment, I don't know. Every time like I look beyond just writing for fun, it's like move to California.
You don't have to do that. I mean, like it. To be fair, take everything I say with a grain of salt because I don't fucking know. I'm literally writing my first and second short today, or not today, but like a couple days ago, and I'm only using this outline because I've had trouble writing my features, and this really helps me with that.
I've never written a feature because they are hard.
They are very fucking hard.
Did you do the blacklist?
I have not even touched that shit yet.
I just keep hearing stuff about it, but I'm not in the position to be like chucking out like $100 so like someone could like half read the script.
Yeah, like I've just been like putting it out to people on Fiverr who are qualified.
I've been doing it the opposite. Just do like Discord, Reddit, like whoever wants it.
You
Go
can
get
do
it.
that too. I think that's perfect. You should definitely do that before you go for coverage. I'm just dumb. What are you writing down for 5? What did it cost at the time, location?
I'll have to write something else.
I think a good way to put it would be to like, hey, every time that they spend trying to find a place with Wi-Fi is less time they have to actually write and research.
Yeah. See, like I think of all that when I just see the word time.
Because in a way, in the way that you've written it, it's very clear to us like what they're wasting. They're wasting time, and like that gives us the sense of urgency. Like we know what's going on. What is 6 is what's their point of no return? Giving up after like trying all the various ways to get Robbie to turn on the power, right?
Yeah, so it's like giving up on Robbie.
There you go. And then that pushes us to the next scene where they're running outside trying to find a place that they can continue the essay.
Yeah, there's like... Okay, so where... Oh, this is like the part that I always skim over. Because like I know what happened. Because it's like 3 locations where they're just like trying stuff.
You see, even this, you might just be able to cut. Because the Law and Order joke isn't that funny. And we already know, like... We already know, okay, so we just need to find somewhere to let us in that has power and Wi-Fi so I can write the greatest paper. Like, we know why she's doing that.
Okay. That was my next question. Like, is it clear? Because, yeah, the point of that would just be, like...
Like, the way that you set it up, we know the stakes, and if nobody in real life is going to be like, I'm doing this so I can do this, even though you know why I'm doing it.
You know, so I'm just talking to the camera.
Yeah, it's like clunky exposition.
Yeah.
But all you have to do to fix that is cut this very tiny scene that isn't really that interesting, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
We can cut straight to the campus library, and then they could just walk in and make like a funny joke where it's like, huh, why didn't we try this first? Oh wait, no, they don't even get in. Yeah, no, this is fine. You can just cut between like her ramming at the library door and almost breaking her fucking shoulder, because that would be fun. It's just like they try a bunch of different ways to get into different places.
Right. Okay.
So then they get to the freshman dorms, like different dorms.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's just those 2 things they try for the party.
Yeah, I like that. I like the sneaking into the library and the freshman thing. Maybe add 1 more, just so you can get in the rule of 3s, and it just feels like they've done all they can.
Yeah.
So that can be scene 7 altogether. You just don't want to have them walking around stating things that are obvious. You can have the funny scene of them banging up against the library door and nothing happening. You can have them climbing up the freshman thing and then them falling and being like, well, I know where we can go. I think that's cool. And like, we know what they're doing. They're not stating it to us.
Okay. Yeah, you make complete sense.
And what is scene 8 after this? They get into the frat house again?
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah! Fucking Beth. I love Beth.
Yeah, so they're trying to work on the paper, but, you know, there's a thing going on.
Yeah, they don't even get the Wi-Fi, like, they failed. But then they... Or, did they get the Wi-Fi? I don't remember.
Well, like, the idea is that, like, there's Wi-Fi in this house, but, you know, it's, like, not an ideal place to work on a paper.
They found a place to work on the paper, but it's not ideal. Like, they have the Wi-Fi, but it costs them peace and quiet to work on the paper, making them like less efficient.
That works.
And then that next scene of Beth like helping them, that's great, because like they found a way on their own to like advance what they're doing. They found somebody to help them, and they're not like circumstantial. Like they found out that this person knows a lot and have recruited them to help them.
Okay, so half these like monsters like want to continue the paper.
Yeah, they want to continue working on the paper. And then 2 is the same thing. They won't finish the essay in time. It feels a little stagnant, and I can't really say if it's actually stagnant or if it's like just how it is at that time, because that's what they're trying to accomplish. It like the first thing you want to ask whenever you're doing this, like next time you send it out, is does it always feel like they're doing something? Does it feel boring? You know, it's what could be a potential problem with your script, right? Like, you know, like what's good, what might not work. So you want to ask people about that. And if you don't, like, just tell them to tell you what they didn't like. Because otherwise, if you can't figure it out yourself, that's the whole point of getting somebody else to read it.
Yeah, and like luckily a lot of feedback has been be like, I don't really get Carly as a character, so it's great that like we've like gone over this and then like started fleshing her out more.
Well, that's the whole point of this, like, because if you don't have a clear idea of how your characters want to be, that's the whole point of getting this done, because we want you to understand your characters, and even if you forget or like it gets lost in your concept, you can always come back to this grounded list, the to be liked, to be useful, and like the wants, the needs, the deep rooted beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a very succinct guideline, and it's not a rule set, it's just something that you have to look back on.
So would you consider that like a new scene, just like?
Yeah. I think it's a new scene because you cut and time has passed.
Okay. So
their clothes are soaked, they shriek. That's a great problem to have. Like, they've screwed their chance with Beth because of their like inherent flaws that they already have.
So they want to learn Beth.
But they fuck it up. It's not like a victim of circumstance kind of thing. She fucked up because they were like too focused on what they were doing rather than listening to what she had to say. They were like, they want to get it done fast because they don't have the time. And then Beth was like, oh, you don't appreciate my fucking work?
We're getting already these questions. What happens if they don't get what they want?
Oh, 3 is what? How do they go about it?
How they go about it? They have Beth lecture.
They have Beth lecture them, and then due to like them being in a rush, she stops lecturing them. And that's like the cost.
Yeah, it's like kind of short.
The only thing that I might say about that scene is that it could be more because of something inherently wrong with them. Like, rather than they're trying to get her to rush it, it's like Carly is trying too hard to be her friend rather than just like let her lecture, and then Jay is like trying to squeeze money out of her or something.
That would be funny.
Like, what you have is good, but I don't know if it's like enough to push it forward and like be coherent with their character. And the only reason I say that is because it's like more in line with their flaws that we already know.
Right, it makes perfect sense.
And I think it's great that you've had Brad be the one who spilled beer on them. I think that's what you did, right?
Yeah, because he's drunk.
Because like they disrespected Beth's teaching, and then as a consequence they lost Beth, and then Beth accused Brad to go leave with her, and he inadvertently causes more consequence, but at the end of the day it's still all their fault. It's not like some random frat dude poured it on them.
Yeah,
you never want your characters to just be a victim of circumstance, because otherwise then things are just happening to them. It's not they're causing things to happen.
Makes sense.
What happens after that?
I had like a short scene of them in the laundry room, and
forgot about that.
I wanted to make it better, so I kind of workshopped, and like Carly, like, you know, the door opens, she's got her pants around her ankles, and then Atticus, she like shines Atticus again, like he's there, happens to see her, and then
yeah, I forgot about this. It kind of put me off.
So I was gonna like have it continue with like Atticus talking to Jay, and then like in order to like kind of raise the stakes, he's saying like, hey, if I don't get at least like a whatever grade on this, I'm probably gonna have to drop out of school.
Yeah, like guilt Carly, like she's starting to have doubts about it, and then he like pulls her back in.
Yeah, so that kind of like raises stakes, so now they know like if they don't finish it, he's going to leave, and she will never see him again, essentially.
Yeah, that could be a good way to raise it. I just like, whenever I read this, I was like, this is what happens, right? Like, she opens the door and she's like half naked, and that's like the embarrassment of it.
Yeah, and I also just felt like Jay wouldn't care if it happened to her.
Yeah, Jay would just go out. She doesn't give a shit. Like, that would be funny, but like that's not what really happens in here, I don't think.
Yeah, I just like had her like.
You just had it to have the scene, and then that was like kind of boring.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a little goofy thing.
Yeah, like I think it's goofy, but you're not leaning into like the funniness of it enough.
Okay.
Like you said, the scene of Jay like walking out like fuck, I don't give a shit. Like that would be funny. I think that'd be hilarious because it's like in line with her. She's just like free and doesn't really give a shit about what people think of her.
Right.
I think it's funny if she's like half naked. She's like, fuck it. And she just like walks away to go like steal clothes from the. She steals like dude clothes from the fucking frat party guys.
Yeah, but then like I felt like this almost kind of undermines like that part where like they're running from like campus security because like they have beer on them or something.
No,
Like if
because they're
like
still like
their
covered in
clothes.
beer. It's not like they're taking a shower.
No, like I can imagine it could be like in their hair or something.
Yeah, like they're still soaked and smell like beer.
Yeah.
And they're coming from a frat house. So like this guy has every reason to chase after them. So I think that this could be a really good scene. Like you said, to raise the stakes. Because they're like in the washroom. Like somebody could walk in on them and then be like super embarrassed, but like Jay just walks out like it's nothing and she's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go find some new clothes. Like she just steals from the frat house.
Yeah, that could be funny.
Yeah, I think that would be really funny. And then Atticus could be the one who walks in on them. And then he like talks to Carly and like guilts her. You know?
Right.
That's a cool scene of events. And then Carly chooses not to talk about it because she knows that Jay would be like, oh, that guy's a jackass and he's just like using you.
Yeah, and I feel like I would have to like set it up earlier that he does kind of validate her in some way.
I think that you set
Like,
that up pretty fine.
Okay.
You might need to like expound upon it a bit, but like,
Yeah.
as long as you put that forth to us, that he's like, we know that he's just like using her, either to get to Jay or like, that could be even a good thing. He walks in and he's like, looking good, Jay, and she just like flips him off and like walks away. Doesn't even like acknowledge that Carly is half naked.
Oops. Yes, I like that.
Yeah, because it's like she knows that like she doesn't really have a chance with him, but she like clings on to that hope. Oh, you could also put that a good way is like, oh, it got all over my laptop.
Gotta put the laptop in danger, yes.
And maybe, just maybe, because this might work, you could say that the laptop is trashed and she needs to go borrow one from the school. Like she has it backed up on a flash drive. That might be a good, like, let me skim through a little bit and make sure that it's like in line with what you've already written.
Well, like next is where like they go to that weird board game
Yeah,
club.
they go to the board game club. Is like there could be a computer in the board game club. Like a spare like computer laptop that they're using. If that's what you want to do.
It's like a good idea.
Just because it's like something else to get in their way rather than Atticus as being a dickhead. I think Jay got clean clothes. Like if Jay is stealing them from the frat house.
Yeah, so if she does that, then she's fine. She's all set.
Yeah, but Carly is still covered in fucking beer. Like she just doesn't feel comfortable stealing somebody else's clothes. Now are you adding the part where Atticus like guilt trips Carly?
Yes. That is like the bottom line. It's like the point of no return, right?
Yeah, Carly gives in to Atticus's guilt tripping. But a really good way to maybe implement that is that maybe she's like, Atticus, I don't know what to do. My laptop is busted. How am I supposed to help you? I'm not in control and I don't know how to handle it. And like this could be a moment of vulnerability for her, and then he takes straight advantage of her. And is like, hey, I know there's one in the board game club. You should sneak in there for me.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, because if she doesn't, she's still not going to get validation from him. Yeah. And Jay doesn't even know about it because she went upstairs to go steal clothes from people. Maybe she steals it from like a couple that's fucking upstairs. She literally sneaks on the ground and just like steals all the chicks' clothes.
That'd be kind of funny, but
could work a little bit, but like at the end of the day, it's your call. I'm just throwing out ideas and seeing if any of them stick with you.
it's a good idea.
I think you have a good scene outline for this part.
Okay.
Okay, so we've like fixed this scene. Like the scene that was just here for literally a gag that wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
We've expanded upon the gag so it's like objectively funny. Depending on how you choose to implement it, because like at the end of the day, all we've done is like outlined it in this scene. all of this shit is just like the essentials that you've written down, right?
Mm-hmm.
None of this actually tells us everything that's going on in the scene. So this is just like everything that I'm saying is just for you to remember. If you decide that it's like good enough to keep in. Okay, so scene 11. Oh fuck.
A lot of running.
Yeah, and like I like the visual like the physical comedy in this scene. Just like the fumbling over Jay's art.
Mm-hmm.
And this could be like a good character moment for Jay. It could be like, or like Carly could like be really sad that she ruined some of Jay's art because she worked like super hard on it. And then Jay could be like, oh, I don't care, it's all garbage. Or like talk about how she feels about her art.
Right.
Because then we get like a better look into her. Now that I think about this, the end of this is kind of rushed, huh?
Yeah, you could say that.
That's all right.
Fair.
I mean, I forgot that it goes from the board game room to the end in like a couple pages. Oh no, it's got like 7 pages. Never mind.
Yeah, and with like the small little edits I've done already, I already added like 3 pages. So
Yeah. So what was the next scene? Back outside, Carly and Jay waddle in their wet clothes. You know, maybe we should just go back to the dorm, get some dry clothes in the dark. So Jay's like thinking about giving up. So Carly is still like, all right, well, obviously you don't know what you're talking about because I only have 10 pages and that means that I'm not good enough.
yeah, I also feel like it's kind of a crack at Jay.
Yeah, she's like slightly just being like passive aggressive.
Yeah, and then so that could just be like, well, Jay feels like she'll never be
Yeah.
a part of this.
Yeah. And like you can show that visually. Just like instead of it just goes from Jay shushes her as like Jay looks dejected. Or like maybe she says something that's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't usually do that kind of stuff." Or like just something that like points to her being insecure about her not being able to help.
I'm just saying, I like this.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I really don't want to like step on your toes on like the foundation that you have. That's why I'm just like throwing ideas at you and seeing what sticks. Because at the end of the day, I'm not trying to write your script. I just want to come in and like help you expand on the stuff that you already have because what you have is good. So like now that we've expanded on the fact that maybe Jay's insecure about not being able to help and like we know it. This scene where she runs away from the security guard. Let me skip past a little bit. She tripped over Jay's canvases. Maybe Jay is the one who decides to get rid of her art, and then Carly is like, "Why would you just destroy your art like that to help me?" It's like you worked so hard on it.
Yeah, so like Jay would throw it.
So Jay is sacrificing her work to make sure that Carly gets what she wants, and she falls deeper into this like self-fulfilling prophecy of like, "Hey, I'm here to help you. It doesn't really matter what I want. I want your validation, so I'm doing this for you." And then this helps Carly see like, oh, maybe this isn't the healthiest thing because Jay's doing it and I feel horrible. It gives her like this little bit of insight into like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing.
Oh, good.
If that's like a direction that you want to take it, I think that would be really strong.
Yeah, I think that's great.
So you can combine these 2 chase scenes.
Yeah.
And if you really want to, because like to quote Tip of the Tongue again, that scene where they're talking about that Scooby-Doo movie and like just the funny bartender guy who's like spilling coffee all over himself and he's like, "Oh, you should go check out this." Like you can give that kind of character to like, you don't have to give that kind of character because that's kind of fucking over the top and wacky, but you can give like a funny characteristic to this security guard because that'll endear us to him even if he's like destined to lose.
You know, that is funny.
Yeah, it's like even your side characters like need something to like make us interested in them. Like Beth's whole thing is that she's like a teacher, but she's also like getting down and dirty with Brad every 5 seconds. And then Atticus is this dumb asshole who's also kind of manipulative and like a bad person, which is why he's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't even need anything that deep with this security guard. I just think that like a characteristic that he leans into could be interesting to help us with this. So
yeah, that's a great idea.
A great way. Do you mind if I write out this scene and you can edit it as you see fit?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think a good way to put it is that Carly and Jay want to get away what will happen if they don't get what they want? They could get in trouble because they're covered in beer. Because at least one of them is covered in beer, because we don't know what's going on in the last scene. We didn't exactly like come to a consensus on what that is.
Yeah.
One of them is covered in beer. I like that the golf cart crashes too. Is that what you wrote? Because I remember that.
I like had them like throw a painting at him and it hits him in the neck and he falls off. And I was like, oh my god.
Like the
Like,
golf
low-key,
cart
he might be
crashes and he
dead.
rolls off into the fucking like rolls down like a set of stairs or something. I think that's funny. The security guard could also be very hurt.
He might be dead.
And that could be a really good point of no return. Do you agree, or is there anything in the scene that you want to change?
No. You got it.
All right. I just think that's really powerful. You're working with the stuff that you already have, and it's like really great, in my opinion.
I'm just saying I'm excited to like rewrite what I have.
I'm really glad that you're as excited as I am for you.
Yeah.
It's just really cool that like I think that what you've done is create this parallel arc without even knowing it. And it's like a very well written arc. Because they're not going to like do the stereotypical thing at the end where they're like, ew, how could you do this? You're such a horrible person. Why have I been working with you this entire time? Because that's boring. Like they do that in every fucking Disney movie. But it's like, that's probably not where it would organically go because they're very good friends and both have to realize that they are flawed in the same way. And they have been like enabling each other in this like weird twisted way. Their faces drop. A handful of students sit in a circle. Non-emotive game of Uno. That's fucking nutty. I don't like that. I mean, I like it because it's creepy, but ew.
Make it even creepier.
I did very much like the like image it gave me because it was just like them sitting. It's like, oh no. Like it's very like melodramatic. Like it's dramatic, but like in a very like monotone way that's hilarious.
Yeah, for some reason I had the idea that they're gonna get there and they're just gonna see their baby pictures on the wall, and I thought that would be really creepy.
Oh, that is fucking creepy. I don't know why you would do that, but that's creepy. If you could find a way to make that work, then yeah.
The board game club members knew they would come.
Yeah, he's like, we've been waiting for you. Let's see. The one thing I really didn't understand was why do they have gamer doubles?
I just thought it was weird and creepy.
You just thought it was like a fun thing to have.
Yeah.
I think that might be a crutch that you lean on sometimes. Because you have a great setup already, like these creepy ass board game kids, like that already have conflict in a way. Like maybe they get on the computer that's there to like work on it, or like they use too much bandwidth and they can't plan out a D&D campaign that they were working on. Like the internet lags now because there's more people in there or something. Right. Like something that directly opposes them. Because unless you have a reason for these gamer doubles, I think you can scrap them entirely.
Okay.
It's the same swamp situation. It's like I wanted the gamer doubles, so they are there. It's not like in Persona where everybody has a double and like it teaches them like about the bad parts of themselves.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be surreal. I guess that the board game club members like feel like they're intruded on. It's like, and if you're here, you have to participate, and that's kind of
that's even a good enough thing because like it's endearing because like we think it's funny. Like these guys are like playing super unemotionally and they do everything without emotion. Like the shame. That's funny. But like the only thing that doesn't fit in the scene are the gamer doubles.
Well, it's some brutal honesty because I love the idea, but you're right.
Well, you could make it work. Like to hark back on Persona, I know that you haven't like played the games or seen any of the content of it, so I'll just like touch on it for a second. Like in Persona, they go into the TV world. I know it sounds fucking weird, but roll with it. They go into the TV world where like people are being murdered and they're trying to find out why people are getting murdered and like what this world is. So everybody has like a double called their shadow. And if they don't accept like the bad parts of themselves, then their shadow kills them. So you could do something like that if you really wanted to, but like that's a little heavy. I just don't know if it fits in the world you've created of like funny college students.
No, I'm not sure.
And don't think that you can't ever use this because like even though it doesn't fit in this project, it's going to fit in one of your projects that you end up doing.
Right.
So you'll be able to do this. I just don't think that this is the time and place.
Okay.
And if you can find a way to make it work, by all means, make it work. I just can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know.
You have time to think on it, and even if you don't, we'll work under the assumption right now that they're not working, and we should just stick with the board game club thing.
That's fair.
And then you can maybe, after you get the feedback on this, you can propose the idea to people who read your feedback, and then maybe they can help you expand upon this gamer double idea.
Okay.
So what is going on in here? They're working on the thing. So maybe one of them stops to play the game while the other works on it. Like Carly has to trust Jay to work on the thing because they want Carly to play a game. She has to work past this like thing that she's built up for herself that Jay isn't good enough to work on her thing. But after seeing what she's done to like help her, maybe she's like, okay, I should let Jay work. I should let her help.
Idea. Yeah.
And like Jay has to convince her of this because like she's still on the fence. She's like, I don't know if I can trust you to do this for me because this is so important to me, and if I don't get what I need here, then I'm going to be alone forever. She doesn't need to say that, but like we need to get that sense from her if that's what you're going with.
No, that's a good idea, and like it's like really good like character wise. Because like my version of like the scene like expanded was just that they kind of like take the laptop and like, well, you can't get it back until you play a game or something. But
you could do that, but it like kind of pushes them away from their goal.
Right. Need to hear someone say that.
Did somebody say that before?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, we're probably right.
Confirmation.
Tries to reach out Carly, but she's too slow. I just want to read through this real quick just in case like there's something good about this I want to keep. Yeah, because like she comes out later, right? Jay is dragged out too because she loses the game, but she comes back with the laptop and like she technically proves that she's like capable, but it's not very interesting way.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like she can lose again, but she can be like, yeah, I grabbed the flash drive with like part of the finished project on it. We just need to find one more place to finish it up. Let me go back down a little bit more because I don't remember how it goes after this. Yeah, because they just fall asleep there, right?
Yeah.
So Jay could be like, I finished the paper. And like that could be their moment. But I'm trying to figure out, because we have like this beautiful character moment between Carly and Jay where she has to put her trust in her because she has no other option. Otherwise, like everything's fucked. Let me go back because I think I've lost myself in this like world that you've created. And I forgot the philosophical conflict. Payment is required for work. If you don't help, you can't help people cheat just to make them like you. You see, that's the thing, because like she believes that, but she's kind of hypocritical. Like the way that we've created her in this outline.
Yeah, she's saying this quite a bit.
Yeah, like she preaches it, but she doesn't really like believe it. So maybe her overall need is to do what she preaches and stop undermining her work for Carly's validation. And payment is required for hard work. Like she can believe that, right?
Yeah.
But maybe she also believes that it is okay to let people coast off your hard work as long as you get paid for it. As long as you're properly compensated.
Yeah, she doesn't really care about like any morality type thing. She just wants money.
Yeah, it's okay to let people coast off your hard work for the sake of building and maintaining relationships.
Well,
so they both believe that this thing is right, but for different reasons. Hard work for the sake of validation and payment. That's her big thing, right? She wants to be compensated for everything she does, whether that be through validation or money. Do you think that's a better characterization? Because I think that's a good way to go with it.
Yeah. It's like, that's more interesting too.
Maybe her overall need is also to realize... I think that their overall need can be the same. Like, the nuances of it are kind of obvious and it doesn't really need to be stated, I don't think. Maybe they just both need to realize that validation isn't a substitute for friendship. That might be a really good way to simplify it, do you think?
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
You see, we started with something completely different, but now we have an even more compelling thing, just like organically, because we're building scenes based on their flaws rather than building scenes on, hey, I think it'd be cool if this happened.
Right.
Which, let's be completely honest, you didn't do for the majority of your thing. You didn't do like I just thought it would be cool. For sometimes you did it, and sometimes you fell back on it. But a lot of the times you just like wrote, and you wrote right. So she doesn't completely disagree with Carly, but she's like, hey, you should at least be getting paid if you're doing something this shitty.
Yeah, I feel like that's more on brand with what I already have.
I think people are really going to like this.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it so far, and I feel like we just like made something that was good go into like better territory, maybe even great territory. So
I think it's pretty fucking great. Like the idea that you have. First of all, I love the idea because I would have never came up with that. You did it in a way that only you could have done it. Because nobody else is going to write these characters.
Nobody else would. The weird gamer double thing.
Yeah. You have a point. And if you think that that's like part of the charm, then yeah, you can keep it. You just got to do it in a better way, you know?
Yes.
What did you say? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm just generally agreeing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, like you cut out and I just didn't hear what you said.
Trying to be an active listener by saying yeah.
Yeah, you're so right. Good for you. Thank you for fucking giving me a kick in the ass and just telling me everything that's wrong.
I need this though. Like I was just thinking, so it's like, oh, can you help me with like this other script that's like something's really fucking wrong with it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to come back on again, I'd love to just do that one.
Oh, good, because that's like you're gonna hate me for it.
Could you? How many pages is it?
It's like for some reason I'm like stuck at 26 pages. Like that's just, like my standard.
That's fine. Like I think that's a really good length for a short.
For that one, I only got like 2 people to like review it, and one person's like, "Oh, it's great, it's awesome," and the person's like, "What is this?"
I think that the hardest part about getting people to critique your stuff is finding people that you can trust, like their opinion.
Yeah.
Because
so
like
the person.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like the person who was like not really digging it, they had read this script before, like the Wordsmiths one before, and they really liked it. And so when they read the other one, they were like, "What happened to you?"
Why did this good thing turn into a bad thing?
So I was just like, that's how I know, like, I could trust them. It's just like
That's how
really
you know
real
it's
with
all
it.
over the place and kind of fucking nutty.
Yeah, and like I know we're just talking about like another script that you haven't read, but it's like every time I read it, I'm like, why is this not working for me? Like that's the most frustrating thing. I can't figure out like there's like something major going on that I can't figure out.
That's the thing. If you're not figuring it out, the best thing to do is to take it to somebody else and like have them tell you why they didn't like it. Rather than just them just being like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Ask them like why it's not working for them specifically. Because like it may work for somebody else because like maybe they're just like the kind of person who watches a movie and is like, oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Like for example, I watched Demon Slayer with some of my friends last night. And I fucking hate Demon Slayer. I think it's a garbage show. And the only reason I think it's bad is because like it's objectively not good with all the exposition that it uses. Like it just tells us about things that are happening or like did happen rather than showing it to us, which is like the number one rule.
Right.
And like it's just boring. But like it has its moments. Like there's a lot of good things about it. So like when my friend watches it and they don't really give a shit about any of that, they're like, "Oh yeah, that was fucking great." It's all a matter of perspective because like someone like me or you who like does this all the time, like writing, like yeah, we're probably gonna notice like some things that are wrong with shows and like books and stuff, and like that's a good thing because we use it to build upon the skills that we have. But like some people just don't see that because they don't use media for that. They just use it for cheap entertainment, and that's not wrong. It's just like how they do it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's just like a matter of getting somebody who you can trust to give you good feedback, like in your corner for your script. So we got way fucking off track, but I'm like loving it.
So right away, I see what you were saying, like leaning on the crutch. It's like I have like Carly doing that like, oh no, it looks like I'm bankrupt.
Yeah.
Like Monopoly.
I don't even think that that's like a bad thing, but like she wants to keep the game going. Is like in the narrative we've just created, she wants to keep the game going, right? So like she could be like pandering to them and like, oh, sorry, I just bought, like she could be kicking their fucking asses, and like that pisses them off more.
Cute idea.
So let's just get down the basics with the outline, because we've kind of gone all over the place. And this is like a real good triumphant moment for them to be like, oh, this is where like we finish up our character arcs, or like even like get into finishing them. What if they finish the essay, right? Like this plan pays off and they finish the essay. But like they go to print it off and like Carly just, that's going to be really hard to do. Let's see what happens in this scene, and then I might come back to that.
Okay.
Sorry, I know I'm being kind of vague. Now this is why that scene where Jay destroys her art to help Carly has to be like really impactful. Like Carly has to be visibly affected by that, because otherwise this scene won't make any sense. Where she decides that maybe she's not doing the right thing and needs to let Jay take the reins.
Yeah. Really good.
Now this is kind of like the moment where she realizes that she's like a bad person. Like it's not that she's a bad person, but she's going about like everything in her life the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's like Jay doesn't realize this right now because she's getting everything that she wants. So like at the end of the day, Carly is still kind of enabling Jay. And that's not like a good thing, but Carly decides it's better than like nothing. Like she wants Jay to feel supported, but she doesn't exactly know how. So she like agrees to let Jay have what she's wanted this entire time. And like to let go of her control, which is like growing, but it's not growing in like the ultimate way that we want her to. She's growing in the sense that like she's letting go of control and like getting closer to the ultimate need. But in this scene, she just like needs to get rid of all of this like control anxiety that she has. And she does that. But like she's also not exactly doing the completely right thing, but she's doing what she thinks is right. Do you think that works, or is it too complicated?
I think it's good.
Okay. Like I said, this is just me throwing ideas at the wall. If you want to change anything, this is your fucking story, and I believe that you'll put it in the right direction. I want to make that super clear, because I don't want to just like write your story for you.
No, I don't get that sense at all.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry. If I ever feel like too over controlling, I want you to tell me.
I will do.
And then the point of no return is Carly putting her trust in Jay. What is the next scene? That's a little hard to suss out.
I don't know. It's like,
well, Monopoly takes forever, right? So you could expand on that. Like it just took forever and she still lost. But like maybe it doesn't matter because like they're already done with the paper anyway, and now they can just leave.
right. I was like kind of trying to figure that out. That's why I kind of like took her away. I took her away from her laptop.
Yeah, I mean, now Carly has like distracted them with this super long ass game of Monopoly that would take equal amount of time to write another 10 pages of an essay.
Oh yeah.
Because they like know enough to get by. Like with their training from Beth. Like they gained something in that interaction.
Yeah, so like they're putting those like that knowledge to work.
Yeah, like they lost their Wi-Fi. So their next natural like course was to get Beth to teach them. And then they lost their laptop because it got beer spilled all over it. So their next natural course of action was to use the flash drive that they had to go put it in a new computer. And then like they're actively trying to stop them from getting to use that computer. And then Carly needs to like overcome something in herself to let Jay take the reins and use that computer while she distracts the board game kids. So like they've finally gotten what they wanted, and they have like the flash drive. But like now Carly has this truth. She like knows, hey, this is all kind of fucked up, and I'm doing this for a fucked up reason. And I might actually be hurting the best relationship that I have in my life.
Exactly.
And Jay doesn't exactly realize this yet, because Carly's been enabling her this entire time. And Jay's been enabling her too. So they're just like in this constant state of like, we're right because like this is what we've been working towards this whole time. It's like the sunk cost fallacy. Like if we give up now, then what was this all for? And they like can't bring themselves to admit that they might be in the wrong. So like maybe, I'm thinking about whether or not I want to bring Atticus into this.
Yeah, it feels like it's almost like wrapping up.
Yeah, like because she's figured out the truth, or like she has the pieces now, and all she needs to do is put them together. And like the most natural thing to do is that Jay is rushing her to the library to get it printed off because deadlines are fucking dog shit, and if you're 1 minute late, they'll screw you over and like not give you the grade, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the rush. Like they need to make it there before the deadline. But like they have plenty of time before the deadline. By the time they get there, they have like 20 minutes left. Like I'm spitballing here. Like I'm throwing something at the wall and seeing if you like it. So they have 20 minutes left. Like they have time. Atticus is like right next to them. And he's just like waiting. So like maybe Carly is sat down at the desk and like she has her mouse over the file and she's like deciding what to do. And then she just deletes it. What do you think?
I don't think that's her.
Huh?
I don't think that's like her.
You don't think that's her?
No.
Could you explain why?
Oh, I feel like she would still want to complete it, and then maybe you could like put in the point like she wants to earn, like something from it. Kind of like Jay was like pushing like the like payment thing. So at this point, she's just like, I complete it, and I'm gonna get money for it.
I kind of like when where you're going with this,
but like, she would throw away all that work just over.
Like this is still like an avenue for her to grow, right? So we can have the best of both worlds if that's what you want. Like we can have a fake out where the audience thinks she's gonna give in and delete it because like she has all this information that like points towards her that she needs to delete it. Because if she doesn't, then she's just going to keep enabling this bad behavior between her and Jay, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you fake them out. And like right as we think that she's about to grow and move past her issues, she doesn't. She prints out the paper, despite her better judgment, and gives it to Atticus. But like she there's something different about her. Like we can see that she's not like happy about it. Like, we can see that she's not even interested in Atticus anymore. Like, she doesn't want the validation anymore. And we don't know why. But we have the pieces to put it together, right? So, maybe when Atticus goes in to hand in the paper, like, they already have the money. Carly has the money from it. And then, like, later in the day, they're, like, chilling in class, and Atticus comes up to them pissed the fuck off. He's fucking angry. He's fuming. Because he's got like a 0 on it. And he doesn't know why. And then Carly says that, or maybe, because you want to keep that joke about the power bottom, right? That was funny. I thought that was probably one of the strongest jokes.
I would love to. I was just...
So maybe
I had a joke earlier in the script of like, no, it has to end here.
No. We can still keep that. I think that's hilarious. So... After all this, like, we think that they should have deleted it, and, like, Atticus is pissed off. Jay doesn't know why. But Carly's like, oh, yeah, I told the teacher I wrote your essay for you. And then he's still super pissed off. And it's not even a thing about, like, he wants to be with Jay, because we know that, right? Jay doesn't need to lift up and show her his armpit hair. That's, like, gross out humor. That's kind of not humorous to begin with.
I was worried about that. I was just like, how does this play out?
Because it's funny. It's funny that she dips her armpit hair in paint. And I think that's really funny for the first scene. Because it's not like offending anybody. It's not like attacking anybody. But then it's like the reason that he doesn't want to be with Jay anymore is because she did that. And it's not because like Jay fucked him over. Or that Jay doesn't even want to be with him to begin with.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of like her like fucking him over like like a meaningful way.
Jay, the only thing I'm on the fence on is that Jay doesn't know this is going on, so she still hasn't really changed. Carly is the only one that actually has. So maybe they hatch up this plan beforehand. Like, when they're leaving, they're talking about, or Carly's like, I don't feel comfortable with this anymore. This is horrible of us. Look what we're doing. Like we're not even acknowledging like this friendship that we already have. Like as they're on their way, like Carly stops and she's like, maybe we shouldn't print it off. And she's like, what do you mean? We've worked so hard. Like I worked so hard. I worked so hard to get you here. Like, why would you want to give up now? And she doesn't understand because she's just like been working so hard to get her validation. And she's like, that's exactly it. Like I've treated you like shit this entire day. And
Yeah, I like that direction.
One good deed doesn't discount all of the bad things that I did to you, and I'm sorry. And I don't think that we should print it off. And then we cut to the scene in the library where they're all sitting down. There's 20 minutes left on the deadline. And then the scene plays out like that. So they both agreed to fuck over Atticus.
Right.
And like at the end after that, he's like, man, I'm surprised that they didn't figure it out by the way I wrote it. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I might have insinuated that John Wilkes Booth was a power bottom. And then at that ending scene. So you still get to keep their funnies, but you have this emotional impact at the end. Do you think that's a really good way to end it, or is there something different that you'd like to implement?
Oh, I do like that. My only concern with that is that if they, tell like a teacher, any sort of authority, that, Atticus didn't write his own paper and they did, and that kind of outs their whole operation.
True.
So I'm wondering, like, that could be like a way to go if, like, depending how you play it up.
I
It's
think
like ideally, I saw this as like a pilot, so if you wanted to like introduce future conflicts, you could do that.
yeah. Is this a TV pilot or is it a short?
I imagine it as a TV pilot.
So you want it to be centered around them doing this for a long time.
Right, so like, well, you could like do this to Atticus, but like, like I want like the whole plagiarism business to be like a one and done deal.
Yeah, they could just write him a bad paper.
Yeah. They could like actively make it bad.
My only concern with that is that, like, why are they going to keep doing it after that then?
Yeah, bring them through so much change.
Yeah, it's like they've gone through all this and like realized that it's like a bad thing because they're craving validation from other people. It's just like you could have made that work if we didn't craft the script in the way that we did.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, if I think that we should finish this, but if you do want to change it, like I said, change it however the fuck you want. You have great character arcs, and you can space this out over like a bunch of them. It doesn't have to be just this one. You can space this out over like a bunch of different times, and like each time they do it, they feel a little bit worse. But like, I don't know if that's like viable.
Okay.
So, where do you think that we should go from here?
Just like go on with like the current path we have, and then try to finish it.
Are you like comfortable with that? Or is this like because we can go back and like fix shit if you want.
Like, what do you think like the biggest things we would have to change would be?
I mean, it's hard because like we'd have to restructure the entire thing. We could do we could outline an entirely different scenario for this and like do another outline, like a separate outline that's just the TV pilot.
We could, but I think just for now, let's just finish what we've done.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't want to step on your toes, that's all. If I had known...
Yeah, I just want to see something, like, tangible.
If I had known that this was a TV pilot, this is not the direction I would have gone.
Okay, I just, for some reason, assumed...
No, it's completely okay,
No.
because, like, if anything, this gives us food for thought later.
Okay.
Because, like, if you're having fun, I want to have you on again. Obviously.
Okay.
And, like, a great way to do that is to just have you on so we can redo this as a pilot. And it's a great lesson to anybody listening. On the ending, would you rather go in the direction where they delete the file and like don't get the money, but like they learn something? Because like that's a really good cost. Or would you like to go the direction of they give up their plagiarism business, but get money and learn something in return? And fuck over Atticus.
Yeah, I see the second one more. Because, like, I wouldn't see them, like, wrecking everything they've done. I could see them just like having a little fun here and there
I do think that's a
during
good
the novel.
idea. And like you can make it so Atticus is like fucking balls to the wall rich and offers top dollar for this. Because like he's already got the hots for Jay. So Jay can
Yeah.
like manipulate the fuck out of him for money. And like there's a 20-minute deadline, so she can just like in this scene milk some fucking cash out of him. And that's in line for her. Like she's still
Is
flawed, but like she's grown like in the way that she needs to. I think that's a really good way to go about it. You're right, I think. Yeah.
I love someone else just like putting thought and energy into something of mine. Just like,
Well, that's the thing. I think it's really interesting. Like you wrote a really great thing here, and like I want it to be the best that it can be. But I also want to do it without stepping on your toes. Because like you said that I think that the way that you put out was better than what I said. Like the thing of, hey, maybe they should just delete the file. Because like, yeah, that is a big fucking fat cost for like nothing, for like an entire night of like pain, and like they literally almost killed a guard for that.
yeah.
So like I think it's right that they need to get something out of it while also losing something. So like maybe they milk $1,000 out of this dumb fucking meathead. And like they have to give up this thing, but they don't need it anymore because they've already found like the truth within like what they need. A lot of this is going to come down to how you write it, because if you don't write it in an interesting way, it could just be like a fat exposition dump, which is very boring. But like that's the whole point. We get this all like written down so you can find a way to tell all of this stuff through subtext, which you're good at, because like the first opening scene and second scene of your screenplay were like really, really good at that.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, that's kind of like a weird way to. I guess it's not like a completely botched paper, right? Because all that
No.
like she did was like add some stuff into it, like John Wilkes Booth was a power bottom.
Yeah, so it's like,
So it's like a
you know,
good
it's like-
paper. It's just a little bit weirdly worded.
yeah, in places, like it raises some eyebrows.
Yeah, we could just put Carly wants to give the paper to Atticus, and then like having already told the teacher. Because maybe she's like thinking about deleting it only so she can keep going with this like flawed belief she already has. She's not 100% convinced, but she decides to let it go anyway.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's a good way to put, or that's a good little spin to put on it, I think. So I guess this is kind of the end because everybody's like wrapped up their arc.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like a tag afterwards.
Yeah, you're allowed to just have an ending scene because like they've done everything they've set out to do. So you can just write ending scene and like have it however you want. Because at the end of the day, I don't think that I can like pull out your ending scene for you and then there be stakes, because everything is resolved now.
Right.
But like,
So like I would,
this is just where you have fun.
yeah.
I think that we're done. 15 scenes, or 14 scenes, 15 scenes, whatever. I'm surprised that was all that we had. I thought there were going to be like 20 some.
No, because I'm like definitely an underwriter.
Hey, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, this is perfect length. Like, the pacing is really good. So we went from, like, things not being conveyed super clearly. And by super
Right.
clearly, I mean, like, I didn't get any of it. And, like, now we have this, like, super compelling, very well-paced narrative. Because you had really good pacing before. It's just that, like, there wasn't anything driving it. There were no like
Yeah.
internal, external philosophical stakes. But now we have all that. And you have like a super solid script. Now it's all just up to you on how you write it.
That's the hardest part.
And
I think-
I would love to look over it again once you're done.
Yeah, it'll probably take me a while though.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just glad that we have the two interesting characters that have a really great arc by the end of it. Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I wish that I had read this.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
This is like, I think you've got a really solid script here, and I hope that you produce it in any way that you see fit.
Yeah, I hope to. Like, that's a pipe dream.
Even then, like, this is super low budget to film. I think that you could, like, I think you could do this really easily.
Yeah, and considering, like, I will be on a college campus and, like, live in a sorority house, it kind of works.
Oh, you're living in a sorority house?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. That's actually
Not a typical
perfect.
sorority girl, though.
Well, I mean, hey, just considering that you're sitting here writing a screenplay, I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, it almost works out. One of my friends is like wanted to get into directing, and like years ago, she talked about how she just like wanted to make a movie. And I was just like, well,
Yeah, you just gotta make sure that they
like
like
that.
have the skills to back it up, because the last thing you want to do is
I legit
like
don't know.
waste a script. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then again, you could always try again. I don't
True.
think there's any shame in that.
True.
having
You
a
could
bad
just
run.
remake it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that either way.
So yeah, actually, just don't be afraid to fail. Do it. Just do it next
Yes.
year.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'd love to see what comes out of it. Well, it was really great having you on. I'm glad that you were the first guest for the Double Draft podcast.
Yeah, it was fun. I would love to listen to future guests you have, hear about their scripts.
Yeah, I have somebody. I didn't even read their script yet. But like I got one from another person, but it was 50 pages.
What was your cap?
Huh? It was 40, I think.
Oh,
We spent 3 hours, 4 hours recording this, and I'm gonna edit down to like maybe 2 hours.
yeah, and we spent like a long time on like 6 pages, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, the hardest part is like the beginning and like all of the stuff that we might have had to cut, because it's just like at the end of the day, it's all, hey, this might not work, and we have to figure out why that doesn't work before we decide whether or not we want to keep it or just like mess with it a bit.
Yeah, and that was like a big thing.
Like I said, really great to have you on. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, you too.